What's going on, everyone? So let's come back with this information of why I dress poor, or why do rich people and millionaires, a lot of them actually dress like they're poor. So there's a bunch of different reasons why people dress poor, but I'm gonna give you my reason why I dress moderately and I don't really dress up all fancy or anything like that. Unless I'm going to a special event, then I might wear something more expensive. But most of the time, I'm not really wearing anything expensive just because there's a lot of different reasons. Now, just because you dress rich does not mean you're wealthy. And it just doesn't make sense sometimes. Your lifestyle makes a lot has a lot of different choices in it, and there's always a top of interest whether or not a individual is showcasing their wealth or if they're actually really poor. And I seriously grew up watching, people in these rougher part of Houston, rougher part of Bay City, and always talking about, hey, I got a Gucci purse, I got this Louis Vuitton purse, but they living in the ghettos. And that's how they're showcasing their wealth with each other. And then when I was in the military, I always had, groups of individual will say, "Hey, I bought this Gucci belt, I bought this Gucci shirt," and I know how much they make. We're in the military together. They don't make a whole lot of money, so they're just showcasing their wealth. And I always wonder, why do people do that? But everyone has their own reasons. But whenever I start getting more financially secured, I noticed that the really wealthy people do not really dress that fancy. Now, there's going to be a difference between wealth, right? So if you're a billionaire and they're wearing and they actually can afford it, or their passive income is affording these items, yeah, they're really wealthy. I know some multi-millionaires that can actually afford, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, to even, actually wasting $4 or $5,000 on an outfit for their kids just because they always think to themselves, hey, I didn't have this when I was growing up, and they want to spoil their kids. So, different level of wealth. Now, I'm just talking about the average rich or wealthy person. You know, most of them dress moderately. And there's 10 reasons why I see people do it. And the first reason why I think wealthy people don't dress all fancy and everything is privacy and security. Wealthy individual wants to downplay their wealth to avoid being targeted by crime, scams, and unwanted attention. When I used to go to New Orleans, I used to watch people get dressed up, wear these nice watches, wear these chains, wear, all these things to stand out and start walking around Bourbon Street. You know who's the first people they scam? The person who's dressed like that. I'm sorry to say, but I dress very moderately. I wear a t-shirt, I wear blue jeans, and I go out for a couple of drinks. You don't have to dress fancy in that area, so there's no point in me dressing fancy. Now, if I have to go to a event like a wedding or something like that, yeah, I might put on $100 suit, $200 suit, but I don't really wear anything fancy just because privacy and security. I don't really want people to know I'm wealthy, and when I'm traveling, just because I really don't want to get scammed or deal with the unwanted attention from people, especially whenever you start driving a fancy car. Because the first thing I seen people do whenever they see a fancy car, and this is for the females, is they will start Googling how much that car costs to see if you're wealthy. And I know this is because I had a guy that I used to work with that say, hey, man, ever since I started driving this car, I started noticing that more women are talking to me. I'm like, they're not wanting you for you. They're wanting the attention, the unwanted attention from some of these women because of the car you are driving. So, and to be honest, the only real people that are gonna talk to you about the car are other people who likes those cars. And do you really want to talk to people who just want to talk about cars? If you do, hey, buy the car. But a lot of females don't know anything about car, so why are you buying a 400,000 a car unless it is to show off to other guys? That's the only real reason I see why. Number two, humility and value. You know, I am one of those people that, hey, why should I flaunt my wealth? Because I like living a modest lifestyle, and I was raised to live that lifestyle. Now, my parents do live in a little mini mansion. We're in that small town, but after I talked to my parents and started learning from their life lesson, I learned, hey, I wasn't liked growing up by a lot of people just because my parents flaunt wealth. Now, it's messed up to say that because people are always jealous of what my parents was working for, and it made me look like a bad guy. Saying, "Oh, your older brother drives a brand new Honda Accord," where everyone else at the time was driving a used car, and it brought all types of jealousy from these individuals, and I never understood why. They're just mad at us and kind of ostracized me whenever I was growing up from certain groups of people. Now, and I kind of have value in myself. You know, I I don't believe the clothes make me. I believe I make myself. So, hey, it is what it is. Now, number three, social connection. Appearing less wealthy can help you form a genuine relationship and reduce the risk of attracting people of primary interest in your wealth. So, like I said, the people who are dressing with chains, dressing with all the jewelry, they are going to get unwanted attention from females, males, going after their wealth. And if I'm doing a business meeting, I was told by a bunch of more successful business people, if you pull up in a Lexus, you pull up with a 200, $300,000 car, you're less likely to get a better deal from that company. So if you pull up in a Civic, they know you're bringing more value. And I never really truly understand that whenever I start going to these meetings. And it's just a different type of personality you deal with. And I see that, hey, the more humble the person is, the easier to do business. So that social connection becomes easier whenever you don't dress all fancy, all rich. And it's just easier because you can actually meet people and not be judged. Now, they're going to always judge you from appearance. If you have a bunch of holes in your clothes, they might think you're a bum. Or they might think you spend a lot of money on some of the designer clothes, which I don't understand it myself. Now, number four, avoiding judgment. Now, the rich people hate being judged, or well, the wealthy people hate being judged for their wealth or by their parents because it gives a negative perception or a social stigma of being wealthy. A lot of people think that wealthy people are corrupt, evil. They had to step on a bunch of people to get their wealth, and it's far from the truth. Some people do that. They do depict that in movies and in social media just because it's easier to push negative connotation than positive connotation. If something positive happened, people always swipe off. You know, if something negative happened, man, you get so many views for it. And that's what's happening. And no rich person or wealthy person want to be judged by and have a negative perception of them. Now, number five is teaching children the value of money. So I don't want to teach my kids that they need all these fancy things to be happy. I want them to grow up to be moderate. And now, if I become super successful, worth 100, 200 million, yeah, my value's gonna change, and I might spoil my kids a little bit more with more um, luxury goods. But right now, I'm not worth 100, 200 million, so I'm gonna make them grow up, a class below, which is, middle class, instead of upper middle class, showing them with the luxury bags and everything else like that, where they waste their money. I'm gonna show them, hey, this is the value. This is a bunch of knockoff stuff. You can wear the knockoff stuff and no one will know. And this is doesn't really bring you happiness. So I want to understand that the connection with money could be good. It's not always about, hey, what happiness money can bring you. So, trying to teach them all these things. Number 6 is long-term financial security. You know, some wealthy individuals prefer to reinvest their money in business, investment, or saving than spending on consumption. I give you an example. Instead of spending $5,000 on an outfit, I'd rather spend $5,000 on inventory items that I can possibly make $10,000, $20,000 off of, just because I think that's a better return on my money. Now, can my opinion change over time? Yes, whenever $5,000 is equivalent to like maybe $50 or $500, maybe my opinion will change. But $5,000 to me is still a lot. I don't know when that's gonna feel like it's pennies, but I really doubt it will. But I want my long-term financial security to be solid and 100% making sure I'm good to go, because you only got one shot at this long-term financial security for retirement. And if you screw it up, there's only so many times you can screw it up before you're gonna be retiring poor and struggling. And I don't want to do that. I see my grandparents dealing with it right now, and I see people deal with it all the time. And there's only so much I can do to help them. I can't give them money or too much money. I can't do XYZ, because if I do, then I end up hurting my family. So you have to learn, hey, from other people's experience, long term financial security is the best bet, best investment. Now, number 7 is one of those things that you have to really think about. And it is, sad to say, tax and legal reason. I've been watching YouTube and some of these social media influencers saying, hey, you can write off all these um, goods situation if you're using for business. But I don't see how you can write off a Ferrari for business. I mean, you can use it for a movie or shoot once in a while, but I don't see how you can write that off every single year for the full time. I don't see how you can write off, your clothing like that. I mean, there's got to be a limit on how much before the IRS can come, and I don't want to be on the other end of that. And also, you can't really be following negative or that you're not making money and you're dressing like you're worth $100 million. You're spending $20,000, $30,000 in your outfit. How does that make sense for tax purpose and legal reasons? Just think about it. You're drawing all this attention, but you really have no money. And I just don't want that legal issue or taxation issue. And number 8, personal reasons. Personally, I'm comfortable and I prefer wearing inexpensive things, because I kind of get dirty a lot. I kind of ruin clothes. So, I just don't prefer buying expensive clothes, because I see people wear these Jordans and they're so particular in making sure they're not dirty. They go over XYZ, they go to a club, they get in fights over, hey, you stepped on my J's, or hey, stay away from me because you you're dirty, because this clothes is too expensive. And at the end of the day, if you're not ready to invest in commodities and taking a loss on it, you're not ready to wear it. And it's just a personal preference. I don't want to wear $500-$600 shoes that are supposed to be sneakers, and it gets ruined and get upset about. Now, I do have shoes that cost that much, but they're dress shoes, so I wear them to formal events. And they're not like clubbing clothes. Now, number 9, philosophical reason. Some people choose to live that lifestyle due to being raised with different morals. And I'm one of those people. I'd rather donate any extra money that I have, that I can, for helping other people, than spending $5,000 on a set of clothes. Now, if I'm worth $100 million, it may be different. But right now, I would prefer, instead of buying $5,000 worth um, of clothing, I'd rather spend 2 or 3 thousand on a charitable event and keep the other 2,000, or spend $1,000 on clothes for the year and spend the $5,000 on, or the rest of the $4,000 for a charitable event, because it'll do more goods to help other people than me trying to wear a $5,000 outfit. That's just, if I think about it, why would I not want to help other people instead? And some people don't think like that. Some people think, hey, I'd rather have the money for myself. And number 10, avoiding the pressure of appearance. You know how much money I save by avoiding the stereotypical, you need to look like this, you need to wear these type of clothes, just because it's money saved. I mean, maintaining wealth and staying up with fashion is super, super expensive. Fashion changes every year, every quarter, every season, and I just don't have the time and day to keep changing my outfit just to stay up to date. You know, I still have clothes from high school and I still wear it just because the fashion change. It is pointless for me to try to keep up with fashion just because it's not worth it for me. Now, let's do the key takeaway before I conclude this video is, value security over show. Option for low profile life is safeguard against potential threat. And that's just the truth. If you dress rich, you're more likely to get robbed. And then embracing modesty, prioritize personal value of a humble lifestyle than a vast resource. Seeking authentic relationship. Once you start making a certain amount of wealth, it's really hard to find authentic people that's not trying to use you. And then dodging the social critiques. When you live a modest lifestyle, you kind of avoid all these negative connotation of what you need to do. And then instilling financial wisdom often helps teach, your kids. Focus on the future with wealth stability is reinvesting for enduring the financial healthiness instead of your appearance. And then personal comfort is selecting lifestyle alignment with the individual. That's some of the key takeaways. Now, whether you do or don't want to dress fancy, that's up to you. But these are my reasons why, as a millionaire, I don't dress like a millionaire. I dress like an average person. And like and subscribe to my video.